So hello students and welcome back once again to the today's session over design of retaining wall through JCE Connect. So I was discussing about design of cantilever retaining wall, and in the last session we have finished with the stability calculation of retaining wall. Okay, so I discussed about the different types of forces and the force acting as a movement over the retaining wall. Okay, and we have got the resisting movement and even also the overturning movement acting on the retaining wall. Okay, the overturning movement acting on the retaining wall, and after that we have calculated its factor of safety. Again, overturning, we have calculated the factor of safety of retaining wall against overturning, and we got that our wall is safe in overturning. Our retaining wall is safe in overturning. Okay, that is the resisting moment Mr and the overturning moment M0. The ratio of that is 2.75, which is more than 1.55. Means the moment of resistance is more than 2.75 times moment of overturning or overturning moment. Correct? So our wall is safe in overturning. Now we'll move on to next step, that is you have to check for the upward pressure acting on the retaining wall. Upward pressure acting on the retaining wall. Okay, so for that we have to find out now the distance of the distance of CG of vertical forces, the distance of CG of vertical forces from the face of the toe, from the face of the toe, face of the toe. Okay, so x bar is summation of summation of m divided by, so I'll read it here, summation of m divided by summation of w, summation of m divided by summation of w. So the summation of m is, again it is with respect to the moment of resistance and overturning moment. So it is summation of m is 398.49 minus 144.55, because this will act in clockwise direction and this will act in a anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so plus minus. The resisting movement will act in clockwise direction, and the overturning moment which tries to overturn the retaining wall, which tries to, so I'll show it here if you want. So the overturning moment will act which tries to overturn the retaining wall. This retaining wall try to overturn. Okay, so that's why it is in anti-clockwise direction, and the resisting moment will try to resist the overturning. Okay, so that's why it is summation of movement, all the movement. Okay, divided by the summation of vertical forces, that is we got 206.67, we we have got it is 206.67. So we will get x bar is equal to 1.22. X bar is equal to 1.22. So now E is equal to, so therefore E is equal to, now here B by 2 minus x bar. So B is 3 meter minus x bar is 1.22. So you will get the eccentricity E is equal to 0.28, and which should be less than B by 6. Always the eccentricity should not exceed B by 6. Should not exceed B by 6. Hence there will be no tension. There will be no tension. Okay. So always in the design of retaining wall, the eccentricity E should be less than or equal to B by 6 to adopt no tension. Now I will explain what is this no tension, or why the eccentricity should be less than B by 6. Okay. Now, so we have the retaining wall here, and this retaining wall has to resist basically two forces, that is, one is horizontal force, I can call it as FH, and one more is vertical force, that is FV. Horizontal force due to lateral earth pressure, and vertical force due to the dead weight of the soil, that is the self weight of the soil. Okay. And this will develop a resultant. If I plot a resultant here, okay, so it will, the resultant will be like this. And for this reaction, for this resultant, the wall will develop opposite resistance. Are you getting my point? So basically the retaining wall has to resist, one is horizontal force, one more is vertical force. The horizontal is nothing but it's the lateral earth pressure. Okay, the soil will develop earth pressure in horizontal direction, and one more we have the vertical force, it is because of the self weight of the soil. Okay, and these two will have a resultant, a force, resultant force, and that resultant force will be developed by these two forces, and it has to be resisted by the retaining wall. Okay, and it will develop opposite force, that is I call it as R, or the resisting force. Okay, and this distance from here to here is nothing but x bar. Are you getting now what is x bar? So this is x bar. Just now we have calculated, that is we have calculated x bar is equal to summation of m divided by summation of w. We have calculated already, and this we have got it as, I think we have got it as 1.22. This distance we have got it as 1.22. 1.22. Okay, and the eccentricity is nothing but, so we have got the centroid here, so it will be B by 2 and B by 2, capital I, B by 2, B by 2. So here it will be somewhere here. So this is nothing but E. This is nothing but E. Are you getting? So we have calculated E is equal to B by 2 minus x bar. Correct? B by 2 minus bar. We have got E, the eccentricity. And as I told you, E should be less than B by 6. for no tension. For no tension. Now I'll explain what is no tension. Understood? So the horizontal force and the vertical force will develop a resultant, and that resultant has to be resisted by the retaining wall. Has to be resisted by the retaining wall, and you have got the location of resultant. It is at a distance x bar. So x bar we calculate summation of m divided by summation of w, and that E is equal to b by 2 minus x bar. So the eccentricity of the resultant is E is equal to b by 2 minus x bar, and that eccentricity should be less than or equal to b by 6 for no tension. So now I'll explain what is no tension. So generally what will happen when the retaining wall resists the forces. So because of the soil, it will develop the upward pressure. So generally the upward pressure will be like this. The upward pressure will be like this. It will develop the upward pressure. This is non-uniform. Why the non-uniform? It is because of eccentricity. So in the footings or the combined footing, we can have the pressure as uniform. The upward pressure will be uniform. But here the pressure is not uniform because we have the eccentricity. Because of eccentricity, we get the pressure which is not uniform. But this is both are. So here we get P minimum and P maximum. So this total, the pressure what we get, this is positive or compressive. Are you getting my point? Means whatever the load occurs through retaining wall over the soil, that time what will happen? Soil will develop the opposite reaction and it will develop the upward pressure which is not uniform. Because of the eccentricity, it is non-uniform. Correct? But in case of footing and other thing, so we matched the CG and we got the pressure was uniform. But here it is not like that. So what will happen here? We get P minimum, P maximum, both are in compressive pattern. So we get positive. But suppose if this condition does not satisfy, if E less than B by 6, we get this type of upward pressure. If this condition does not satisfy, so that time what will happen? We get the pressure distribution. The possibility will be like this. So this is positive and this is negative. So we get this as positive, this as negative. So this is nothing but tension. So what is happening here? Soil is not trying to resist the load. Means what will happen? In this zone, the footing tries to settle down because it's a negative. Are you getting? इस केस में क्या हो रहा है? The soil will react in opposite direction to the vertical load or the forces. So it will be like compatible form. But इस केस में क्या हो रहा है? What is happening in this case? Soil is not capable to resist the vertical load. So what will happen? It may settle or it may fail. So that time what will happen? It will develop the tensile force. So this is totally in compression. Positive means totally in compression. So we have got here positive. So this side it is positive, this side it is negative. Correct? So this will develop a tension and the retaining wall may fail due to settlement. Tension मतलब क्या? Soil is not capable to carry the force because of this eccentricity is more than B by 6. So in any case in design of retaining wall, design of cantilever retaining wall, E should be less than or equal to B by 6 to satisfy no tension condition. To satisfy no tension condition. Now it's clear? Okay. So after getting this, we have to move to, so we have to avoid this. So we have to avoid this, totally we have to avoid. In case if you get E is more than B by 6, you have to revise the design. You have to revise the design. That is very important. So in any case, E should be less than or equal to B by 6. So that time you will get this type of upward pressure. If you get A more than B by 6, you will get this type of upward pressure. Pressure distribution diagram. So this is totally avoided. So we have to go for this. So if you get like this, you have to revise your design. Now I will show how you get this. How you get this. So we have to find out the upward pressure. We have to find out the upward pressure. Chalo. So then now calculation of maximum and minimum pressure. Calculation of maximum and minimum pressure. Okay. So P max or minimum, the equation for that P max or minimum is summation of W divided by B, summation of W divided by B into bracket of 1 plus minus 6E by B. 1 plus or minus 6E by B. So therefore P max is equal to summation of W is 206.67 divided by B is 3 meter into bracket of 1 plus, for maximum you have to use plus 6 into E is 0.28 divided by B is 3 meter. So we get P max is equal to 107.46 kilonewton per meter square, and that is positive, means compression. And P minimum is, you have to use same, that is 206.67 divided by 3 into bracket of 1 minus 6E is 0.28 divided by 3. So we get this as 30.32 kilonewton per meter square, and that is also positive. So means we get this type of pressure distribution diagram. Suppose if you get negative here, means we have compression as well as tension, and this should be avoided. So we got this P maximum and P minimum. Understood? So now the maximum stress that is, I'll read in bracket 107.67, 107.45, the maximum stress, that is 107.45, is within the permissible limit of SBC of soil, that is 200 kilonewton per meter square. So means the pressure developed by the retaining wall is again within the limit of SBC of soil. Means the pressure is, whether it is the pressure what you got, that should be again less than SPC. Understood? So it is less than SPC. So next, after that you have to move on to design of heel slab. Design of heel slab. Okay, the next is design of heel slab. So design of heel slab. Design of heel slab. Okay. Design of heel slab. So for that we shall have the pressure distribution diagram below the base slab of retaining wall. Below the base slab of retaining wall. So let us will have this, that is the base slab of the retaining wall. This is cut part I have shown. So this is important, this is the base slab, and below that we have the pressure distribution, and we have got these two values, that is we have got this as 30.32 and this as 107.46. Okay, 107.46. Okay, so for bigger side I have drawn here once again. So for better explanation, we have got 30.32 and this we have got it as 107.46. Okay, 30.32, 107.46. The total, the width of base slab is 3 meter. So you can see this is 1.55, this is 0.45 and this is 1 meter. Total together it is 3 meter. And just I have named it as, for the further calculation, A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. And for heel slab I have to refer this portion. For toe slab I have to refer this portion. Correct? So like for heel slab I have to refer this much: CD, GH, L. CD, G, because this part it is with respect to heel slab and this part it is with respect to toe slab. Understood? So we have to refer like that. So we have got 30.32, P minimum, 107.46, P maximum. So I have drawn same here. Okay, so we'll move on to design of heel slab. Okay, so then again, okay, so design of heel slab. So design, I'll have it. Okay, once again I'll write design of heel slab. Okay, so for that again you have to prepare a table, that is load, force, distance and movement. Load, force, distance and movement. So here when I design heel slab, so you have to consider W3 and part of W2, correct? Because on heel slab W3 is acting and W2 is acting. So W3 is backfill, W2 is weight of heel slab, self weight of heel slab. Okay, so I'll write here. So first is W3. First is W3. So for that we have, it is 1.55 into height is 4.8 into 18. 1.55. Okay, so 1.55 I'll just, okay, so this is 1.55, the width of heel slab 1.55, height is 4.8, the density of backfill is 18. Okay. So we got this as 133.92 kilonewton. Then distance is, because we are designing hill slab, so we have to consider the forces about this point, correct? So that is about C, about C, about C. Because the hill slab, because of the forces, it will try to bend like this, it will bend down. So if this is like this, so it will bend like this. The hill slab will bend like this because of the vertical force, correct? So we have to consider the force, all the forces and movement about the forces about this point. Okay, that is, we can say it is a C point, point C. Okay, so it is 1.55 divided by 2, 1.55 divided by 2, correct? Then the movement, again multiplying this into this, so we got this as 0.775. By multiplying this into this, we get the moment as 103.78. 103.78. So this is in kilonewton, this is in meter, this will be in kilonewton meter. Okay, that is W3. Then we have next force acting on the hill slab is, that is weight of heel slab, weight of heel slab. Okay, you have to consider weight of heel slab. So again the force is here, it is 1.55 into thickness is 0.45 into the density of concrete is 25. So we get this as 17.43 kilonewton, 17.43 kilonewton. Okay. And the distance is again 1.55 by 2, so I'll write 0.775. And again multiplying this, we get as 13.50. So we got the total movement is 117.28 kilonewton meter, 117.28 kilonewton meter. Then apart from this, like apart from the backfill and the heel, the self-weight of heel slab, those are acting vertically downward, we have upward pressure also which is acting on heel slab. The upward pressure due to soil, like this, or like this. So we have to refer this pressure distribution diagram. We have to refer this pressure distribution diagram for the upward load. Okay. So here we have to consider the upward pressure. Okay. So I'll write here. You have to deduct in red. Deduct due to upward pressure. We have to deduct due to upward pressure. So here we have the upward pressure now, that is this part. So I separate this. One is rectangular, one more is triangular. Rectangular and triangular. So that is CD GH one part and GHL. This is nomenclature you can give as per your convenience. I have given A, B, C, D. So that's why CD, E, F, G, H, G, H, J, K, L, so L. So that is CD, G, H and G, H, L. So we have to find out this height now. We have to find out this height. So this height, what you can see, this is nothing but same as 30.32. This will be here directly 30.2, but I have to find out this, what should be this height, what should be this height. So I'll just draw the rough sketch. Okay, so same way with respect to this, I'll draw here. So this way I got it as 30.32 and this is 1.55. Only for the heat slab I have considered, only for the part of heat slab I have considered. Okay, and this, if I draw it here like this, so this is equal to this. Okay, this should be equal to this, correct now? Now I have to find out this, what should be this, I have to find out this. Okay, so for that okay, so I'll consider a symmetrical triangle. This divided by this divided by this, like that. Understood? This base width divided by this distance and this base width divided by this distance. Okay, so this base width is, if you check, this is 3 meter. So I'll call it as this is as x1. I'll call it this is as x1. So we have to find out x1 now. Okay, so 3 meter divided by 3 meter divided by this. So from here to here, na? From here to here. 3 meter divided by this height. So this height is 107.46 minus 30.32. So 107.46 minus 30.32 is equal to x1 divided by this 1.55. Okay, I'll explain here once again. I have taken as this as x1, correct? This as x1. So 3 meter divided by this, 1.55 meter divided by this. So we have to find out x1 from this. So therefore we get x1 is equal to 39.85. We get x1. So this we got it as 39.85. 39.85. So what should be the total now? This should be, only for your information, x1 plus 30.32. So we got it is as 69.85. So we get this as 69.85. We got this as 69.85. Okay, so now we'll consider the upward pressure. So we'll consider the upward pressure. So again, same table you have to refer. So for portion, so for upward pressure we have considered a portion. I'll just give a name here. You have considered CD. So here CD and this as GH. So this is GH and this is L. Okay, CD GH L, CD GH L. So one is rectangular, one more is triangular. So for portion, I'll consider one by one. For portion, first I'll write here CDGH, CDGH. Okay, CDGH, for portion CDGH. So the area is 1.55 by 30.32. 1.55, the force is 1.55 by 30.32. No need to consider density because the pressure is the distribution what you have calculated with respect to already considering by the density. Okay, so we got this as 46.99 and the distance is again 1.55 by 2 because it's a rectangular and we have to consider the forces here 1.55 by 2 and we get, after multiplying this, we get moment as, so this is also same table. So this is distance this is movement, this is force. Force for portion CDGH, distance, movement. So we got this as 36.41. Okay, and second we have for portion GHL, for portion GHL, correct, GHL, for portion GHL. So the area is half base into it, half base is x1, we have got it as 13.85 into height is 1.55. So we got this as 30.88, and the distance is, see, now it is from base, because you have to consider the movement about this face, and the triangular portion, the CG with respect to base is one third of height, 1.55, one third of 1.55, and after multiplying force into distance we get movement as, we got 15.95 kilonewton meter, and we got the total movement which is need to be deduct, that is 52.36 kilonewton meter, 52.36 kilonewton meter. Okay, so we got, therefore net movement, we got net movement is equal to 117.28 minus the deduction 52.36 is equal to 64.92 kilonewton meter, 64.92 kilonewton meter, which is nothing but m. So therefore the factored bending moment mu is equal to, 1.5 times 64.92, so we get this as 97.38 kilonewton meter. So this is a net bending moment acting on the heel slab, net factored bending moment acting on the heel slab. Okay, so for that again we have to find out AST. So now after getting bending moment we have to calculate the area of shield, that is AST is equal to 0.5 FCK 20 upon Fy is 4 on 5 into bracket of 1 minus square root of 1 minus 4.6, mu is 97.38 into 10 raised to 6 upon FCK 20, B is 1000 and D is 400, square into B 1000 into D 400. So we get AST is equal to, 700 mm square, okay, AST is equal to 700 mm square. So which is more than AST minimum, and AST minimum is 540, already we have calculated, AST minimum is 540 mm square. Okay, so for that you have to, for AST is equal to 700 mm square, we have to provide the reinforcement. Understood? So let us assume here again we will try for 12 mm dia bar, okay. So here assuming dia bar, so we get spacing is equal to 113 divided by 700 into B is 1000, so we get spacing is equal to 161.41 mm. So I will consider 150 mm center to center. And again we have next distribution steel. So this is for main reinforcement. The distribution steel is again 540. We have got AST minimum as 540 mm square. So therefore, again let us assume 12 mm die bar. Sorry, I'll assume 10 mm die bar here. So therefore, spacing is 78.5. That is for area of 10 mm die bar divided by 540 into 1000. So we'll get this as 145 mm. So I'll consider 140 mm center to center. So therefore write here, therefore hence provide 12 mm dia bar as a main reinforcement, at a distance of 140 mm center to center and 10 mm dia bars as a distribution steel, at a distance of 140 mm center to center. Okay, so this is regarding design of heel slab. And regarding this, if you get any queries, you can contact me. Okay, thank you.